Welcome back everybody to the Darkest Dungeon. I'm Player Tested. When we last left off, we were on our way to the Necromancer. We camped, did a massive explanation as to what I've learned and how I've been playing the game since learning things. And so now we're going to continue on and we're going to defeat this Necromancer because, quite frankly, he has been a thorn in my side since then, and we're going to do this. It's going to happen. I'm going to make it happen.
The light, the promise of safety.
And I hope, with strategies set into place, I hope I'll be able to do this fairly quick and easy without having to essentially waste time with certain aspects of the Necromancer that I've learned from the couple times I've actually fought him. So here's hoping that we can actually do it in a timely manner, in a fast manner, and not have to deal with the problems of, because every time you hit him, or every time he is able to attack, he summons a undead creature, or a skeleton, and then he moves back. Well, eventually what ends up happening is he gets so far back that you can't touch him, and so it's like, well, then I can't really do any damage with him unless I have some range characters, which that limits how many people can hit him, and if they can't hit hard at a long range, then it becomes kind of fruitless to be able to attack, and it becomes a lot harder and difficulter to be able to do these kind of things. And I'm very surprised at how well I'm doing right now in this fight, because I was expecting to at least have a little bit of a problem with this one, but this one went really smooth. I'm very pleased with this. Oh, we got some more food. Good.
Victory nonetheless.
I'm gonna use the key.
Packs laden with loot
All right.
are often low on supplies.
We got one more fight. Oh no. The brigands by far have been in all the fights I've been in, the brigands have been by far the bane of my existence. They are nothing but multi-target hitters. They love hitting multiple targets, and being unrelenting on the damage, because they can do some serious damage, and it becomes very hard and difficult to get through them. But thankfully enough, that was a fairly easy fight, so that's good. That's what we like to have. Is usually have some easy fights.
A devastating blow.
All right. Okay, here we go. Light my torch, so I'm at 100% light. That's what we want. This way we're not surprised when we come in here, because
Fierce,
granted, he's not going to be surprised.
nightmare-made material.
Okay. So here we go. Hopefully, with the things I've learned, I will be able to do fairly well with him. Because he's a hard hitter. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bleed him. Yes, that is a very well placed bleed right there. That was very well placed. Okay, then I'm gonna take him out. We're doing well. This so far has been, this is good. Just as long as every time he does that, he only brings in one guy, and as long as I can take him out fast, we should be okay. That's, yes. Oh, this is gonna be a great fight. Now, granted, I know by saying that I'm probably shooting myself in the foot, because I'm gonna get myself into trouble by saying that, because every time I've gotten overconfident, being like, yes, this is going great, I'm gonna win this, I'm gonna do it, it all falls apart and it just goes down the drain, and I end up losing some serious damage. I'm gonna take that. Okay. lead him again. Oh, that was a beautiful strike. Beautiful strike. Okay. She's doing... I'm going to heal her. She's been... I need to keep her up. Because she's my only healer right now. This has been good. Okay. This has been the key thing that you want to make sure you do. Wow, I actually got the first hit in. Is keep that front guy out of business. Oh. Okay. I may have this one. I may actually do this. But just to be safe. Yes.
No living sinew to
Oh.
Will these
This.
walking bones
Oh.
finally fail?
Wow. In all the times I have fought in the Necromancer, like, either he has just obliterated me with no problem, relative ease,
If
or it's
only
been
treasure could staunch
down
flow
to
of
the bare
otherworldly
wire
corruption.
of what happens. And that one, by far the easiest one I have ever done. Okay, so having a strategy going into these things is definitely the key idea. Now, granted, if you don't know what the monster does, anything like that, gets a little harder. But I knew...
Finding the stuff is only the first test. Now it must be carried home.
I mean, I fought him before. He was relatively a pain in the butt. Okay, I can get rid of that one. But if you know the guy, you know what his quirks are. If you can catch him early in the battle, I think, then you have a massive chance of being able to beat him. But that went smoother than I would have ever imagined. That was by far the best dungeon I have ever gone through, and I am just completely shocked. So, things we learn is, one, torches. Gotta keep that up above 75. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. You have to keep your torchlight above 75. Bringing about 8 of them is usually the safe bet. Food, another good thing. You want to make sure you keep about 8. Unless you're going on a medium-sized trip where you have to camp, then you probably want to bring about 12, maybe more. Making sure at least 2 shovels works out well. I never really brought anything in the ways of bandages or any of those salves on my first set of rounds. I never really bought those because they were
Once
kind of
our
pointless.
estate was the envy of this land.
Because eventually that goes away. You go back into battle, you start healing your guys back up. It's not really much of a problem. As far as spending items in town, a lot of my spending, I made sure in the Sanctum, I made sure I had 2 slots available, because the quirks that they build up, you want to make sure also that you have more positive quirks than you do negative quirks. Now also you want to make sure that the negative quirks are ones that, if like the blight resistance, I can get rid of that one. Guilty conscious, not so much. I don't need to worry about that one. This one kind of helped me because he does more damage. This one, it's only in camp, so it wasn't really needed for me to get rid of. But you want to make sure you have more positive quirks than you do negative quirks. I also made sure in the guild, I built up my instructor mastery as my training regime as well. With the stagecoach, I made sure at least to bring up my numbers to 4, so that way I had a good set of guys flowing through there. And then as far as the blacksmith goes, I had at least 1 in each. So this way I could bring their armor and their weapon level up to 2. Now granted, my leper, surprisingly enough, he was still at 1-1. I was planning on bringing the Crusader and my level 3 Highwayman in with me, but at level 3 they weren't able to jump into those dungeons. So it kind of worked out really well that I was able to bring a lower Highwayman as well as the leper. I had those ones in reserve to be able to do that, which is great. But other than that, I mean, you just got to make sure those torches are up all at a decent. You got to make sure it's at least 100. You can't let it go below 75. Once you go to below 75 and you start fighting things, you got to try to get it up there as fast as possible, because if you go lower than that, you're going to be in some trouble, and it's going to be a slaughter. Once they start getting that little foothold, it becomes very difficult to gain that foothold back. But other than that, I mean, this game has been very challenging, which is great, because a lot of the games nowadays, when they make them, I don't necessarily think they have them. I mean, games nowadays, they've gotten a lot easier, in my opinion. They've gotten a lot easier. Usually you can blow through them in a couple days, no problem. Maybe even a couple hours at times. I mean, there's been times when I've blown through a game in a matter of 6 or 7 hours, and I'm like, that was just a waste of time or money, so what was the point of that? This one, it is very, very challenging. I mean, I don't know how many hours I've put into this game so far, but it is very challenging. It is very well made. It's definitely not for it's not for somebody who, they're expecting, oh, hey, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna blow through this because it's fairly easy, that type of deal, blah blah blah. I mean, you have to think through. You can't just go in there blind, expecting to slap out, just beat things like crazy, and go through it, no problems, no questions asked. You have to plan things out sometimes and take care of other things in town when you're there. But I mean, other than that, it's a very well made game. I'm impressed with what I've been able to play, and I'm probably going to continue playing on. I don't know if I'll be recording more, but at least you got to see the first essential quest goal taken care of, defeating the apprentice necromancer. That was my main goal in a lot of this. Now later on, I might end up going out and being like, hey, let's take out something else, and I might record that, seeing if I can get farther in the game or something. But for now, thank you for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. And until next time, keep playing games, and we'll see you then.